Good evening, YouTube. This is Chili J. Today we're going to do some mushroom growing. Well, the start of it, we're going to use PF Tech. Alright folks, we're going to use the PF Tech. Anyways, typically one would use brown rice flour, but I am out of that, so I am using dark rye flour. It's a little more expensive, but it's also a little more nutritious. Problem with using rye flour, it likes to hold a little more water. Typically with brown rice flour, you would use 1 part vermiculite, 1 part flour, and 1 part water. So, to compensate for the stickiness of the rice, we are going to use double the amount of vermiculite to break up the stickiness. Also, we're going to throw a little twist on there. We're going to use a little bit of gypsum, and we're also going to use a little peptone. Alright, we're going to mix this up using the sandwich method. We're going to dump the first part of the vermiculite into a 1.5 cups of water. Next comes the dark rye flour. Give it a nice little mix. Still pretty liquid, so let's keep adding more of the vermiculite to soak that water up. And at this point, we're going to add some other goodies. Alright, first up on the extra goodies is going to be peptone. About a teaspoon to a teaspoon and a half. Alright, next up would be the gypsum. We're going to add about a teaspoon to that. The reason I'm adding peptone is to increase the rate of colonization and overall health, because it's protein based, I do believe. The gypsum is calcium, which will help the cellular structure of the mushroom grow. Just in case you guys are wondering, if you eat a mushroom while it's fresh and not cooked, you're not going to get anything other than water out of it. In order to get all the nutrition out of the mushrooms, you need to cook them. If you add too much gypsum to your mushrooms, yes, it will grow well, but they could actually be a little harmful to you due to your kidney stones developing because of the high amount of calcium buildup. So, just use it moderately. Now that's nicely mixed. It's a little too moist for the way it needs to be. So I'm going to add a little more flour and a little bit more vermiculite. And about a little less than the 1/8 cup of flour and another 1/4 cup or so of vermiculite. Hopefully that will make it to full capacity. One doesn't need to use all these extra ingredients. One can simply just use straight vermiculite and brown rice flour. I like to add them because I like to get better flushes, but they are absolutely not necessary. Also, the more nutrients, the higher contamination rates, but I will be pressure cooking this, so yeah, it ain't gonna be a problem. Alright YouTube, now that we're about to the right consistency over here, we're gonna start filling up our jars. You kinda want it like cookie dough consistency without being too sticky and too wet. Alright, so as I said, let's start filling out the jars. Yes, I know I'm making a mess, but hey, all fun and games until somebody has to clean it up, right? It's probably best that you clean up along the way. So before we continue the next step, we shall clean this up. Alright, now that everything's all nicely cleaned up and packed in, as you can see, the level of the cake only goes about here, and the rest is just vermiculite. The vermiculite, one, helps filter out anything that could possibly get down in there through the lid if there was to be a malfunction with your seal or filter, but also it helps pull any extra moisture out of the cake if it's a little too. Now let's put a lid on this and let's get it pressure cooked. We're going to pressure cook this for about 1.5 hours on high, which is about 12 pounds pressure because I really don't feel like bringing out my big pressure cooker just for a few jars. While I'm pressure cooking this, I'm also going to do a little liquid culture, because using a whole syringe for 3 cakes is a little bit of overkill. Alright, for about a pint of liquid culture, we are going to be able to use 1 pint of water with the stir bar down there in the bottom. We're going to use about a couple teaspoons of light malt extract. That way, since it's grain based, if you spray this upon some grains, the mycelium will colonize a little faster. Also, for the liquid culture, we're about to add another teaspoon or so of peptone. Once again, to speed up growth. And here you see we got our pressure cooker all set to go with tinfoil over the lids to protect the filters. Alright, now that everything's all cooled down, and as it should be, it's underneath this steel air box, all nice and sanitized in there. Let's get inoculating. Alright, now that I'm going to inoculate the liquid culture, let's put in about a couple cc's more than needed, but let's get it done. Alright, put 2 cc's into the liquid culture. Let's sterilize the needle up again. Just a second. Nice and red hot, fill off everything that could have possibly been on it from the liquid culture, despite it being pressure cooked. As that cools off, let's wipe down the inner lids. I'm going to put a single cc in each jar. Right off the last one. Pipe it down, make sure it's nice and clean. A little heavy on that one. So they went a little heavy on all of them. There's like 3 cc's left.
Normally I'd say hold on to it, but you know what? Let's put it all onto the liquid culture. It won't hurt. Way more than it was needed for liquid culture, but I don't need to have a partial syringe just hanging around. I can get some more off of mushrooms.